Class is in session. The Brofessor is in. What's happening, y'all? So we have a new boss battle, a midweek female boss battle, our first female boss battle. So we have a lot to discuss in terms of that. I know this is going to be an interesting one, to say the least. So in this video, we're going to check out our buffs as players, the boss's abilities and what that means. And lastly, we're going to open up the lineup card, and I'm going to go over whom I think are going to be the top 4 to 6 cards posters, that you could use for this boss battle. Let's get to it. So first off, one thing that we notice is that for our buffs, we are going to get any color finisher is going to do 1,000% more damage, basically 10 times the damage that begins at level 1. And secondly, trap gems are going to do 6,000% more damage, or 60 times the damage as well. So those are the two big things that we're going to try to look for. Players that have a lot of buff, a lot of trap gems to buff, and decent sized finishers, but this is mostly going to depend on the boss's abilities. So one thing we're going to have to keep in mind is we need the basically to look at how the damage on each turn. So these are going to go off, if I had to guess, this is going to go off every 1 to 2 turns, but it's usually split somewhere in the middle of 2 going off one turn and then 2 going off another turn. So we do know that every turn the damage is going to be 1.5 million. So this means that your 5-star gold superstars posters should be able to last 3 turns, depending on if you have them maxed out or not, with additional damage for each turn that's gone off. So that is one thing that you should be able to hopefully get to turn 3 with it. We do know that a shield will be activated for 2 turns. So every second turn this will be activated. It's going to be 200 gems, and that's the kicker right there. That's something we're going to have to talk about. So if you're not going to bring one of the best players, you're going to have to bring somebody who breaks this shield. That's your number one objective. So 200 gems, not affected by the boss breakers, which means no neutralize help there. This is going to turn all color gems into leech gems of strength 1. We all know that the boss doesn't break any gems, so this essentially is to try to put it over all of your trap gems, kind of like we saw with the last faction boss, and having it blanket out the board so you lose your trap gems at that point. So that might be every turn as well too. So if I had to guess, again, this would be turn 1, all the damage. Every second turn we get the shield. This might be every single turn it turns them into leech gems. And then this is every turn. So it's going to add 10 MP to all of your turns for 1 turn. So this might also be every second turn, but it can easily be every single turn. So just be aware of that as we go through all of this. Okay? All right. Now that we know what our buffs are, now we know what the boss's ability are and what we are going to do, let's turn to who I think are going to be our top 4 to 6. And then don't forget, I'm going to be releasing later this week our bargain bin of whom I think are going to be your best bet if you don't have any of these characters. All right, let's get to it. So in the focused category, I think your best bet is probably a tie, but I'm going to give the tiebreaker to Becky Lynch, the GOAT, and this is it's less entourage, but more of what I think is probably your best bet with her. Is probably one that recycles, puts a lot of trap gems down, and you're able then to use the finisher and get a little bit of extra damage with that 10 times finisher buff. So she does have 2 separate trap gem moves, if you recall, but I think this is the better one because it also is going to deal some bleed when it's broken by you, and I think that's going to be an important aspect of this as well. So the reason why I don't want to go 2 trap gem moves is because she makes 36 with each one. And so they're going to override each other, and the other one just destroys cross break gems. And since we're not using the sub that makes the cross break gems, I'm not sure it's necessary to use the green one as well. What is good is that this just recycles itself, right? So if you're able to get this going turn 1, you can put these down. So this would be your first move. Put down all of the trap gems. Next, you would create and swap into purple gems, so that way you could load the finisher, do as much damage as you possibly can. Then you would hit as many more trap gems as you can, reloading both of these, and then you can start again. I would expect that it would probably be 1, maybe 2 cycles on a turn, but she's going to make the most trap gems. And remember, each one of these 36 gems that she puts down is going to turn that gem 60 times more powerful, right? So that's where we're going to get a lot of our damage. So Becky is going to be awesome for that. The other one, as I said, would probably be Zombie Bianca would probably be the other really good one in this category. As well, she'll be able to blow up the board with the X-Break gems, and then she also has a trap gem move right there. So you'll be able to reload, you'll be able to help break the shield because you'll be blowing up the board, and you'll be able to make trap gems into purple gems as well. I'm not sure the bleed and the bite is what you're looking for in terms of damage, so that's why I think you're better off hitting these 2 probably back to back, and only those 2 might be the way to go with Zombie EST. So if you were lucky enough to get Io Sky this past weekend for the feud, then you are going to be in luck, and hopefully you'll be able to take her up high enough for this midweek boss battle. No pressure. Because she not only creates trap gems, if you remember from our workings of her, which then, when broken by you, increases your purple MP, which is nice. We like that, increasing purple MP. She also has, if you get her up to 6-star, bonus damage for every trap gem, so that's going to be helpful. You can try to find a way, and I'll have to think about this more during the week, but she does have a blue gem damage buff, so she can now buff blue gems, meaning that as the boss battle goes on, she is going to be able to increase her damage over time, making her more powerful. And I'd be interested to see if we can find a way to create blue gems from the armbar. But she does have ways to recycle with the butterfly backbreaker. So lots will come for those if you have Io Sky. If you don't have Io Sky, like myself, that might be a skip at this point. But she will be very effective this boss battle as well too. So she's up there with in that top 4. So in the aggressive category, we got Hall of Fame China. And this is going to come with a caveat that if you have both of her gears, and this is what's important about this, if you have both of her gears, it is the second gear, let's put that back out and then I can show you again, that is going to do 100% more trap gem damage. And so that is going to make her trap gems even more powerful, just for having the gear alone. Now, in terms of running her, this would be the moveset that I think might be the most effective, and I'm debating this with the black trap gem damage because it adds more damage. You can stack the black gem damage, and I'll show you what I mean in a second. Why I like this one is because you are putting out as many trap gems as you can on all red gems and all purple gems, and then they're going to reload each other. And then each time you reload this purple move, you are getting bonus damage for every trap gem. If you have the gear like you saw there, then this is actually going to do closer to 70k per trap gem, and then you add in some special trainers on top of that, you are going to be doing even more damage with it. So I think this is probably the moveset that I will run her at for this boss battle. But I did want to give a shout out that she does have another trap gem that makes all black gems into trap gems, and then it increases your black gem damage by 30%. Now 30% isn't a ton, especially when we're dealing with a billion health of a boss, but it is worth noting that this is stackable and it will continue to stack. She also makes a bunch of black gems when the finisher hits. She also chooses purple gems as well. So these three moves, 1, 2, 3, will recycle themselves into another sort of cycle. The problem being, though, is how many black gems do you have on the board and how many can you then stack? And the reason why I chose this moveset ahead is because this is going to create random red gems. It's going to make 8 of them into random red gems. Remember, we have a shield to break. 200 gems means blowing up the board over 5 times to break the shield. So you're going to need someone who breaks a lot of gems, and China's just one of those with this moveset. So that's why I've chosen this moveset for Hall of Fame China, and that's why I think she's going to be one of the most effective ones in this. And as you can see, my battery power is dying, so let's get to the next one. I'm going to throw a sneaky pick in here before I go to the last one. She's going to be in the bargain bin in the fact that a lot of people are going to have her, but I'm not quite sure how effective she's going to be, and so I'm kind of hesitant that we have her in the top 4 to 6. I think the others in this group are going to be better than she is, but I think Stacy Keibler actually has a chance to do some damage, and so this is going to be my sneaky pick in the top 6 because of her ability to not only create trap gems, right? So she's going to get this 3x3 trap gem. It's going to swap a random area into yellow. So we're going to make traps. Those are going to get buffed. She's going to create a bunch of gems and cascades, which is going to help with the shield. So there's the 2 objectives that we need. But she's going to turn these traps into purple gems. And this is where I hesitated putting her into that top category and why she might belong in the bargain bin, which is better for us. And you can see we now have a fun face with this. But what I think is important is if you're going to go for damage and stackable things, every time you make those purples, you are going to stack damage on those yellow gems. And if this goes long enough, and if you're able to stay alive long enough, that is going to increase your yellow gem damage. But as I said, these yellow gems that are going to go 164 or 165 are not going to be trap gems. The trap gems are going to be purple based on this setup. So that's why I think Stacy Keibler is sneaky in that she's going to be able to do some damage, but she's not going to do the 100, 200, 300 million a turn that you might expect her to be doing. But in terms of somebody that is probably going to do better than everybody else in the bargain bin, that's why I sort of have her on the fence here. And this will make more sense once you see who is actually in the bargain bin when that video comes out next week. Last but not least, Bailey, damage control. And I know some of you are saying, like, who actually has Bailey damage control? I'll tell you who. My boy, my bro, Liability, and already taken her up 6 stars. So there are people out there who have that, and I hope I didn't step on any feet, but I wanted to let you know that if you did do this, she is going to have a bonus finisher for every trap gem that's out there. She's going to make random gems into traps. They are going to increase your purple MP, so you're going to be able to reload pretty easy, but that's not really what you're after at this point, right? It's actually these traps here. So you're going to go 6x6. You're going to steal health at the same time. So Bailey's got the trap gems. She's got 2 different kinds of them. She's got bonus for trap gems. She's going to be very good, and there's very few that have her. But this is a top 4 video, not top 4 that y'all have. That video is the bargain bin, and that is the video that is going to come up later this week. So do keep your eyes out for that. So for those of you that have already recruited her and have taken her up pretty high, if you've taken her up 6 star, she's got a move that's going to do some good damage this boss battle. And before I forget, one thing that you're going to want to do this week as you're creating your lineups and thinking them through is to also think about some of the trainers and coaches that you're going to need to use. So if you are creating trap gems and they are creating other moves or gems out there, think about possibly using coaches that, take these and create more of a certain colored gem, if that's what your trap gem superstar is doing. The other thing to think about is if you have Acro Dragon, he is going to create more trap gems and do more trap gem damage. Everybody's got themselves a Dakota, so that should be there as well too, creating more trap gems doing more damage, and Jinder Mahal creating more trap gems if that's what your poster themselves do. So these 3 in some capacity are going to be playing a big part of your trap gem characters, so keep them in mind when thinking about who you're going to use and how you're going to use them. So thanks for coming and seeing who was going to be in my top 4 to 6. So here's who I picked so far with the help of those on my stream. So I want to thank everybody who came onto my stream and helped talk to me about who should be in this top 4. So big shout out to all of you. And if you have not yet checked it out, I am on Twitch Sundays, Mondays, Wednesdays, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, Brofessor _G_gaming. And that's where you can find me, or the link is in the description on my link tree. So check it out and come join us and join the conversation that helps me figure this all out. If I missed somebody, or if you think someone should be in the top 4, 5, or 6 that are not on my list, put it into the chat and leave a comment. Or if you think you know somebody who would be really good for the bargain bin, put that in there too, and we can, and it'll help me put together a good list for the rest of the community. All right, y'all. Thanks so much. If this video helped you in any way, be sure to hit the like, be sure to subscribe. Those things really help me out to create, and put some good content out for the rest of the community. Class is over. Brofessor out.